Todd is not only a remarkable, successful 30-year titan in business with having multiple businesses that generate multiplied millions of dollars.
And if that plan happens to be to build $1 million company, which I can help you do.
But he's humble. He's a man of God. He's a family man.
The world's news organizations are built on everything but positivity.
He is an influential entrepreneur and business figure for over 30 years.
I've got to forecast. I've got to pronounce. I've got to project. I've got to share with you my ideas, my vision, my goals for not only myself, but for you.
That's why he's came up with his incredible concept of taking and creating a platform for people that are wired differently.
And you got to understand that your habits of your person and your habits of your business and your habits of your spirituality have to lead to the North Star of who you are. We need to figure out who we want to be in life. Wow, good morning, everybody. I can't believe that happened. We got hit with a storm. I moved over to a different Wi-Fi router. I got a phone call from my sister-in-law, my amazing sister-in-law, Terry. Thank you for calling. Thank you for helping me understand that we got struck by lightning, right? Thunderstruck, AC/DC. I got to tell you, man, the energy that I pour into the show to find out that I was locked up and I wasn't running. So we moved over to a different router. We have two different Wi-Fi. So anyways, we're up and running. And today is Escape the Land of Quo. So I want to get a little bit of housekeeping things done. I'm going to make it up to you guys. We're going to get this thing done in 20 minutes or so. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate you in the mornings. I want to empower you. I want to inspire you. I want to encourage you. I want to be your Barnabas. I want to show you the attention that you deserve. I want to give you the consistency of being wired differently and the coaching prospect that I was given to me by my father, the consistency by other coaches in my life that poured into me and believed into me. I want to thank my sister-in-law, Terry, for loving me so much that she's brave enough to call me midstream. I just want to tell you guys, today is Escape the Land of Quo. Yesterday, we talked about the Land of Quo. And the funny thing is that we're really introducing my third and final book in the series, my first series of Wired Differently. I have more books to come, but I really wanted to get through these first three books to set the foundation for the following, the glossary, the vernacular of what we're doing. The third book is Your Will Be Done, and it's on sale right now, a pre-sale for $29.99. You can get this book right now. I'll ship it to you for free. I'll send you the audiobook, the ebook, and the electronic workbook. The workbook is phenomenal. The workbook is, I don't know, it's every bit is worth this book here. $29.99. I'll get it out by July 19th. We're going to end that sale, and we're going to start the new actual tour of the book. We're going to spend some money on the tour. We got an amazing tour scheduled with Mike Gallagher. We're going to be hitting the country with Salem Media, one of the most foremost national media teams, Christian conservative talk, radio, media, movie production, audio, visual. It's an amazing company, and we're launching our book. We're going to be traveling around. We're selling live tickets to my my book tour. It's going to be phenomenal. We're going to have an immersive experience where the people come, they eat, they get to be with me. We're going to make some kind of a 3D video with them. It's going to be just absolutely phenomenal. So we've got all that going on. We also have the podcast tour, the Unconventional Brilliance podcast tour. The book tour is titled Unconventional Brilliance Book Tour, featuring Your Will Be Done. The Tiki Hut is coming up November 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th, and we're going to be selling virtual tickets to portions of that Tiki Hut retreat. So get your game on for that. Get it on like Donkey Kong. I love saying get it on like Donkey Kong because it reminds me of when I was 16, 17 years old. I'd get in my little Dodge Omni and I'd drive down to the pizza joint. And I'd put on a couple quarters and I'd play Donkey Kong. I thought I was so damn cool. I thought I was cool. I mean, because that's what we did back then. We played Donkey Kong. We did certain things. But the irony of the book 3 that I'm just talking to you about is really taking you back to book 1. Book 1, Wired Differently. I love this book. I told you yesterday, it's like a child to me. And in book 1, we began the glossary of Wired Differently. And in that glossary of Wired Differently, the foremost definition of one of the words in the glossary of Wired Differently, we have some 50 words almost, in our glossary as it's growing. Our movement, our mindset, our mission, our ministry is growing, and we have to have framework for a movement. We have to have, if you will, bylaws, articles. We have to have some organization, and we're doing it with these, with these 3 books right here. These are the outlines. What is wired differently, why we're wired differently, and finally, how to become wired differently. And inside this series of books of 3, we have a workbook for each book. And in the workbooks, we continue to grow the vernacular of the glossary. And what I wanted to talk to you about today is I want to do a throwback. I want to go all the way back to, how did this begin? How did this start? This idea of not wanting to be average, moving out of this place called the Land of Quo. Land of Quo is a dastardly place. We learned about that yesterday. It's a place of shrinking dreams, shrinking thoughts, shrinking ideas. You're just withering away over time because complacency has taken over you. The fear of expanding yourself, the fear of trying a little extra, trying to find a way out, trying to take a few risks. And I'm not saying that it's for everybody. I understand that. But the wire differently mindset early on was this idea of really leaving who you are to become who you want to be. And I know a lot of you struggle with that. I know a lot of you maybe not struggle with it as much as you want that and you want to do that. And so today I was just going to talk to you about how to leave the Land of Quo. Yesterday we defined the Land of Quo. We talked about a friend of mine who read my first book, called me up and said, I'm leaving Indiana. I'm moving to Florida. I said, that's great. My wife said, okay, so you got a few followers. Well, I don't know if this guy was following me as much as that he had understood, he had been called, he'd been petitioned by God to leave where he was to go become who God wanted him to be, right? And he just couldn't kind of leap out of that phase year over year over year. He found reasons of not to move. He found reasons to stay at the job. He found reasons. He kept talking himself into not really expanding, exploring, or growing, or leaving what he had learned, what the Land of Quo was, this place of status quo all around you, kind of gathering and piling in an environment that ultimately you realize that everything around you is status quo and you can't escape it and you don't want to escape it. And it keeps drawing you and sucking you back down to not care about certain things and only keep up with certain people and certain mindsets. That's the Land of Quo. And I don't think any of us are really called to that from birth. I think we're called from birth to grow. And I don't think there's a time to stop growing. There's a time to understand where your limits may be and to understand how to move through those to make yourself better in any given way. But let's talk about the Land of Quo. I want you out of that Land of Quo. And this man who finally left Indiana, came to Florida, said, I'm here in Florida. Can you hire me? He moved before he asked me. I said, okay, we'll hire you. So we hire him for a couple of weeks, and he realizes it's not exactly what he wants. And we were okay with that. We're trying to figure out where he would fit. He was an amazing dude. And then he got a job from someone else, an offer. And then I think God spoke into them, and now he's running that company. And then sure enough, God has him hire our services as one of our largest clients now. God moves in us in crazy ways. And I just wanted to kick off today, and I wanted to take you quickly through how to leave the Land of Quo, how to escape the Land of Quo. I want to encourage you with another story, another quick story about a guy, but let's call him Phil. Phil and I were friends for 20 years. I trained Phil in sales, in a certain type of sales, I should say, in the year 2000 and I don't know, 3, something like that, 2002, 2001. And after I left the company that I had trained him in certain type of payroll sales, we always kept in touch. And I said, Phil, someday we're going to work together. Someday we're going to work together. And we'd always slap, high five, and we'd do that. And he continued to grow the company, continue to grow the company he worked for. And 20 years went by, and we talked to each other at least twice a year. And then one day I got a phone call from Phil, and I was in a meeting, and I took it because I just loved this man so much. And I said, hey, Phil, what's going on? I'm in a meeting. He goes, I just wanted to let you know. I know it's been 20 years, but I quit my job today. You quit your $300,000 a year job. He said, yes, sir, I did. I said, what are you going on? What are you going to do? He said, I'm tired of it. I don't like what's going on. I don't like where it's going. I don't think it's the right thing for me. It's time for me to leave. And I'm coming to work for you. I said, you quit your $300,000 a year job and you're coming to work for me? He said, yes, sir, I am. I said, oh. He said, I turned in my computer and everything today. I said, oh. I said, why are you leaving? He goes, I'm tired of the land of quo. He didn't say those words, but he says, I'm tired of the averaginality. I'm tired of what's going on there. I've given them 20 years of my life. It's not changing. They're not changing. They're moving away from me, not towards me. They're not the best thing for my family in the future. It's time for me to make a break. So I quit the job. I gave him the computer, and I'm coming to work for you. I said, yes, sir, Sam. I said, but Sam, let me call you back. So I called him back. The people were in the room. I called him back and I said, Sam, listen, this is pretty abrupt. I've got a lot going on here. We just moved to a new software, and I've got some people in the places where I'd like to put you, and it's just pretty abrupt. He said, yes, sir, I know. But I turned in my computer. I'm tired of the land of quo. I'm coming to work with you. I said, Sam, I said, Sam was a guy yesterday. I said, Phil, listen, you have got to understand that there's a lot going on here, and I want you. So why don't you come on board with Faith for a meager $50,000 a year? I know you're used to making $300,000. Come on over here. Let me carry the weight. Let me get some things moved around. Would you do that for me? And let's see if we could shake it up and make it willing to go. And to my surprise, he was so eager to leave the land of quo. I never offered him one thing other than that, to come here and trust me. And what he did was he left the land of quo, turned in his computer, and went to work for me. No strings attached, no non-disclosure, no non-compete, no guarantee, no insurance. No, I mean, just one phone call. Think about that for a moment. He was so certain he wanted to leave the land of quo. He wanted to leave who he was to become who he wanted to be. And he felt that would be with our organization. I took the challenge. We brought him on. And within 30 days, we moved him up to a salary that was commensurate with him. We made some moves internally. And I will tell you this much. I have doubled down on this man for the last 7 years. And this man is every bit where he was when he left that last organization, the land of quo. He left where he wanted to be to become who he wanted to be. He built it. He grew it. He made it. Now he's an owner of the company with me. He has equity far exceeding he ever had any other place. He is well exceeding his old salary. He's well exceeding his old equity. He is in a place to provide something for his family for the rest of his life. God has blessed this organization, has blessed the land of quo escape time and time and time again. God bless Sam. God bless Phil. God bless these people. I've got story after story after story. If you're willing to change who you are to become who you want to be, and if you can trust in yourself, and you can trust in God, and you can trust in the moment, and you can really be willing to jump from that airplane and trust that the damn parachute's going to open, everything's going to be okay. Because I got to tell you, without risk, there's no reward. Without some type of risk, without some kind of faith in something, God can't show up. You see, if God was always planned out and measured and everything was for certain, we wouldn't even need him. There would be no levels of identity. There would be no levels of separation in people, mankind, or beings. We would just only be measured by who could kill who. That's not how it works in humanity, right? It's who's smarter, who's riskier, who's braver, who's more faithful, who is willing to leave the land of quo, who is willing to take on the status quo, who is willing to leave and go out and spread their wings and say, I don't care. I'm going to risk this because I know it's the right thing, and God is on my side, and I've got the right people in the right places, and I'm going to make this thing happen. Phil and Sam are true stories, my friends. I've done 6 podcasts in the last 3 weeks or less. Amazing podcasts. At every podcast I talk to anybody about at any given time, at the end of the podcast, they're like, whoa, what is going on with this Wired Differently thing? How can we get involved? How can we leave our land of quo? How can we build our companies? How can we build ourselves? How can we get on board the God train, this mission, this mindset, this movement, and this ministry? How can we be a part of this? How do I escape the land of Quo? So here's what I want to do. I just want to take you through a few things real quick, because I know that we started off a little late here. And I wanted to encourage you, more importantly this morning, I wanted to encourage you. I wanted to let you know my job is to love you. My job is to inspire you. My job is to grow you. My job is to encourage you. My job is to be your Barnabas. My job is to be consistent. My job is to make sure that you have somebody that you can count on. If not every morning, know that somebody out there in the free world is thinking about you and your situation, your plight. We're going to continue to do this. We're going to continue to grow. As God is my witness, I really want to be that Barnabas. I want to be the wired differently person for you. I can't begin to tell you how many blessings, signs, wonders, and miracles God has done for me through entrepreneurship and my business, and through the Tiki Hut. The Tiki Hut, Embracing Your Unconventional Brilliance, which is going to be November 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. And I was just inspired this morning, and Chris doesn't even know it, but we're going to go virtual with this. We're going to sell tickets for the teaching portions virtually. We're going to get it to all of our friends out there in outside of America, all the English speaking people out there that are following me now. I got to tell you how much I appreciate you, how much I love you, how much I want to encourage you. I know you have business aspirations. You can't get to the Tiki Hut, so we're going to bring it to you. We can't get you out on the excursions. We can't get you into the meals, but we can get you into the teaching sessions. And we're going to have tickets sold at a very, very reasonable rate. And we're going to have you involved in it. That is my commitment to you for all the likes, follows, and shares. You guys are doing amazing. I'm also committed to giving you guys affiliate links. Anybody out there that wants to help sell the merch, wants to sell the books, wants to help sell the movement, the tickets, we have an affiliate link. Chris is working on that right now. We are not going to stop this mindset, mission, ministry, or movement. It's going to keep on moving. It's going to keep on going because you guys are fueling it. You're fueling it. So I want you to escape the land of Quo. I just want to take you through these quick points real quick. We have identified what the land of Quo was. In the workbook and in the books, we have a glossary. Land of Quo, my term for the status quo, but a bigger version of your surroundings and where you exist. Often we exist as drones in the land of Quo, where we accept the boundaries and limitations given to us. As a word of caution, the land of Quo is no abstract concept. This is real, man. The dastardly land of Quo is real. The land of Quo has gravity. We talked about gravity the other day. It keeps pulling you. It pulls at you constantly, lulling you into complacency, deluding you with conceit and false sense of comfort, and making you accept the being average. We don't want to be accept being average. We want to move forward. I know this cliche. I know there's a lot of people doing this out there, but they're not doing it like me. They're not doing it like you. They're not focusing on your personal growth, your spiritual growth, and your profitable growth. They're not putting them all together. They're not triangulating all the superpowers of your will be done and God's will be done. And if they are, good job, way to go. But right here, we're doing it. This is our movement, our mindset, our mission, our ministry, right? Here we go. 5 steps to escaping the land of Quo. Let's just make this simple. I want you thinking this morning. I want you knowing what's going on here. I want you to really, really, really kind of dig in a little bit. We're going to take it at the surface. I'm committed to you. Number 1, start looking. I need you to start looking. Start looking. Are you in the land of Quo? Are you constantly looking for ways to just get by? Are you constantly just looking for ways to move through things? Are you just constantly in a situation where you can't think bigger, you can't reach out, you feel yourself, you're complacent, and I know you don't have all the wherewithal to do the things. I know that all of us have different tools and items to do things with, but at the end of the day, we still have to understand, is this a mindset? Is this something that we can start to overcome by changing our mindset? Are we truly in the land of Quo? Are we looking for people to help us? Are we looking for opportunities to move us? Are we kind of just not trying anymore? I want you to understand, if you're in that spot, you've got to start to realizing it. Because what's happening is if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. There's no maintaining. There's no middle ground. I mean, it's just the way it is. And I want you to understand that just this is how it happens. I think about my banana trees, right? The banana trees are always getting more ripe. And then at one crucial point, they start to spoil. And for one instantaneous second, the banana has maintained its perfect perfection. But at some point, it goes from ripening to spoiling. And I want to figure out where you are in that. Are you ripening or are you spoiling? Are you ripening or are you spoiling? I want you to figure that out. Start looking for status quo. Start looking to see if you're in the land of quo. Determine if that's where you are and where you want to be and where you want. Number two, I need you to pick a destiny. I need you to say, listen, this is who I am. This is what I am. And God made me this way, but I feel like I want to go here. I want to be willing to change where and who I am to become a place and what I want to be, right? We're called to change. Our whole bodies, our cells are changing constantly. It's not like, you're born one way and you're just made to always be that way. If that was the case, we wouldn't be changing cells and growing and stretching and losing our hair. I mean, we're called to change. We're beings of change. We're creatures of change. We must embrace change. So pick a destination, pick a place, pick a personality, pick something. I want you to laser focus. I want you to pick a destination right now. And then I want you to pray about it. I want you to say, God, this is where I want to go. This is where I feel I'm called to go. Please tell me. Please help me with this. Help me understand. Because once I commit, I need to lock in on it. So pick that destination. Number three, this is my favorite part. Create a wacky plan. Create a wacky plan. I want a wacky plan. I don't want you to create a plan that you can just do, that that I've saved up $35 and I can do it here and I can put it here. And if I just exercise it exactly right, listen, I need a God plan. It doesn't have to be massive. It just needs to be out of your reach. Let's give God an assignment. Let's ask him to bless us. Let's really put something out there so when it's accomplished, you can say, God did it. 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 You can say, God did it. God did it. If you don't put it out there far enough, then you're going to say, I did it. I did it. I did. We don't want that, because your I did it is in your land of quo right now. Your land of quo right now is keeping you I did it in places that you can only reach easily. Number four, I want you to take the plan and I want you to draw it. Make boxes and arrows and squares and draw the place you want to go, a time you want to be there, a date you want to be there. Keep it very simple. Just keep it simple. I've done these very exercises myself. I've drawn houses. I've drawn trucks. I've drawn business plans. My very first big business, Payserve Systems, the company that has supported two of these stories I talked about this morning, I drew on the back of a placemat at Bob Evans. It was simply a business chart, what it would do, and when it would fall down in chronological order. And I presented it to a man by the name of Mike Lechner at a place called Bob Evans some 25 years ago. And Mike looked at me and said, that sounds like a good idea, Todd. And we had a cup of coffee and we kept moving. Man, I wish I'd have kept that placemat. But that was me changing where I was and who I was to who I wanted to be. It started right there. It started me realizing I was in the land of quo. Then it went to me picking the destination. And then it went to me creating a wacky plan. I took that same plan on the back of a placemat and I took to my old boss and I said, this is what I'm going to do. He goes, you can't do that. That's crazy. You'll never make any money. Stay here with me. No, that's status quo. That was the land of quo. That was the gravity of the land of quo. That was the world consuming me. Now, this isn't just for entrepreneurs. This is for people wanting to move up in their business, moving up in their employmentship, moving up in anything they're trying to do. This is even for your relationships. I want you to understand. I want you to, if you want your marriage to go to a different place, set the marker, pick the destination, make it happen, man. Come on now. It's on like Donkey Kong. Let it rip, potato chip. Draw that plan. It all fits spiritually, personally, and profitably. And last but not least, after you draw that plan, I want you to pray over it, and then I want you to implement it. I'm coaching people, and I have all of them are special to me in a certain way, but I have this one particular student. She's amazing. They're all amazing, but this one in particular, I just got off the phone with her, and she's so hungry. She's so ready to go, and she's so full of idea and life. She's phenomenal. But her homework this last week, and if you are listening to me right now, you know who I'm talking to, is you have to say, this is what I'm doing. I want you to pray and implement. Pray and implement. Pray and implement. Just take a piece of it right now, somehow, any way that you can. I want you to know how important it is to do these things. I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to leave the land of quo. I want to encourage you to love somebody else. I want to encourage you to serve somebody else. I want to encourage you to love yourself. I want you to encourage you to simply just say, am I in the land of quo? Are these status quos adding up for me? Can I make a break? Can I make a change? Can it be a small change, just incremental change? Just help me move north in this, but where would I go? So let's think about it. Pick a destination and pray. Now create that wacky plan, that plan that has you taking off for a weekend and in your car, and you scrounged up the money to go do it and to meet the certain person, or get to certain coach, or get to somebody that can actually tell you how they did it, or something that you want to do, and just say, listen, I need some help. I want to try. I know I can do this. I really want. It has to start with your inertia, the idea that you want to do it, and call a coach. Everybody's better with a coach. Call a parent, call your friend, call a doctor, call an attorney, call somebody, because there's somebody, some person, some place that help you get to that destination. You don't have, I don't care who you, Elon damn Musk didn't do it on his own. Love the dude. Gosh, on Friday, but he'll tell you right now, he had help. Draw that wacky plan on a piece of paper on the back of a placemat at Bob Evans. That company's worth over $25 million right now, and I drew it up on the back of a placemat at Bob Evans because I was willing to leave the land of quo, to take my family into a place that they weren't even aware of. And one child wasn't even born yet. Phil and Sam said, I'm leaving the land of quo. Both of them are making mad money, mad skills, mad happiness, because they were willing to leave where they were to become who they wanted to be. I can't tell you how much I love you. I can't say it enough to let you know that, man, you have to free yourself. And lastly, I just need you to pray on that wacky plan and implement it. All right, we had a great morning. We had a great day. I want you to go out and get it. I want you to escape the land of quo. I'll see you Thursday morning. Get to the Tiki Hut, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. Get to the website, toddsaylor.com. Get your book before July 19th for the deal, and get signed up. Hold your place for the Tiki Hut, embracing your unconventional brilliance. Let's get it on like Donkey Kong. Let it rip, potato chip. Let's get out of the land of quo. Escape the damn land of quo. I love